Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about something that I've talked about a lot, and in regard to an awful lot of things, and it usually ends up at the end of a video where I'm going, or at the end of a point where I'm going, this is something that you can do, but it will take practice. And so I haven't really talked about practice before, and how important it is, and kind of the best way to practice. And so I kind of want to go through that now, and there's like a couple of points, 3 points, just to try and make sure that you guys are making the best use of your time practicing, or the things that you are trying to practice, just so you get the best results. So the first thing is that there are a lot of people who will look at a situation and go, well, I'm not talented at it, I don't have this instinctive or instant capability to do a thing, and they get demoralized by it, and they won't even try. And that's the first thing that you need to try and deal with, which might seem kind of obvious, but when it comes to practicing something that you care about, or something that you want, or want to develop, then it's a case of taking a look at those moments where you're doubting yourself and trying to find a way past them, trying to find a way to remove them, because it's just you getting in your own way. And that sucks, because the only person that's then going to beat you up afterwards for not doing that thing is also going to be you. And the ways to do that can be the whole the pros of doing something, the cons of doing something, the pros of not doing it, the cons of not doing it, weighing it up numerically, having a good conversation with yourself about what you actually want and what you need to do to get there, and just writing out those things so that you've got it clear, ready to refer back to, something that you can look at and monitor your progress on, all that kind of thing. Sort of stuff that I've talked about time and time again. But now, looking at the actual practice itself, we need to take a look at the first thing that people really make a big mistake of in regards to the practice that they do. Because lots of people, you hear, oh, this person practices violin for 7 hours every day, or whatever else. This person, this golfer takes at least 2 to 3 hours out of every day to go and practice their swing and whatever else, practice their form. And that's all very well and good. And if you've got that amount of time to spend doing those things, that's amazing. But it won't help you if the quality of the practice isn't up to the quantity. If you are practicing for 3 hours a day every day your golf swing, and the golf swing that you are practicing though is poor form, you're not bending your knees properly, your shoulders are off at an angle that isn't conducive to getting the most force into the swing, or whatever. If that's the case, then you practicing that more just means that you are not improving, you're solidifying that bad way of doing things into your day-to-day, your every time that you go and do a thing, every time that you go and try a thing, it will always be off, because that's the way that you have practiced it, that's the way that you've solidified it in your head, that's what's become habit to you. That when I was my handwriting's always been terrible, because when I'm left-handed, and when it came to learning to write, the first school I went to had some really nice teachers, but they didn't. I was literally the only left-hander in the class, and so as a result, them trying to help me just didn't really work out. It was a school run by people with some older views, maybe, and so it was a little more difficult for them to try and help or work around what I needed. And so a lot of me learning how to form letters and form words came from me and my mum basically sitting out by ourselves and kind of teaching me my own way of forming those things and writing. And it was whatever was most convenient at the time, but then over time, obviously, being left-handed, it's a struggle enough as it is to not smudge everything and all that kind of thing. But my handwriting didn't really improve. If anything, it became curlier and more spider-like as it kind of spread across a page. And a lot of people would just be like, "Oh, you need to practice more. You need to practice more." I hand wrote 50,000 words of a story I was writing at one point, and yeah, I could read it, but no one else bloody could because of how poor it was. But again, why was that? Well, because when I was hearing people say practice, I was just going, well, if I just keep writing, yeah, if I just keep practicing and practicing and writing as much as I can, then eventually I'll get used to it, and my words will slant the right way, and all that kind of thing. I'll follow all of that, and so the quality of what I was doing. I mean, for me, my handwriting's distinctive, and I'm quite happy with the way that no one else can read it. It means that I can write something down, and only the people that I trust, that have got used to my handwriting, can see what I'm saying or doing. But otherwise, it's a case of at that time when handwriting was a bigger deal, it was a case of I didn't practice kind of the right form and correcting the way that I was forming letters and all the rest of it. I just did more and more of what I was already doing, and so it just solidified that as the way that I operated. So if you take that and put it into any other situation, if you've not got the quality, if you've not got the right standard in your practice, then it doesn't matter how much you practice. Someone who practices the correct form once a week, every week for an hour, is going to be so much better at whatever it is that they actually do than someone who practices for 3 to 4 hours a day with poor form, with a lower quality of practice. That taking the golf for example, the person who practices a better form 1 hour a week compared to 3 hours a day of attempting to practice a poor form, pitch those two people against each other. The person who practices the better form, who has the better swing, is more likely to overall win between the two of them. So we need that quality, and we need the quantity to take a back seat until you've got everything down. If you've got all your form down, and yeah, maybe you've had to cut some corners because you've just had to tweak things so that they work best for you. Taking golf and as an example, one of the first times I ever went golfing with friends, in terms of going to a driving range and stuff like that. One of my biggest issues was that because we hadn't bought our own clubs, we were just using the clubs from the centre that we went to because it was an impromptu thing. My height and the capacity to strike the correct form and hit the ball was somewhat difficult with clubs that were poorly sized to the length of me. And so as a result, yeah, it was tricky, and some shortcuts and some adaptations had to be made. But again, you can make those adaptations whilst not overall affecting the quality of the practice that you're putting in, as long as you're still hitting all the right points that are there specifically for whatever it is that you're doing. And so that's the big thing there. But then the final thing is that when it comes to critiquing yourself, it can be very difficult to do with practice. You have that person who's trying to correct their golf swing. Again, this is becoming the running example here, but the person who's trying to correct their golf swing and sort out their form, they will be able to do that up to a point, but there aren't many driving ranges or golf courses that have mirrors there so that you can examine yourself. There are going to be people who, even when there is a mirror there or something that they can examine themselves in, it's something that they will make excuses for, or they will prioritize things that they care about over things that they don't, even if the things that they don't are as equally, if not more important. So to stop that, you need some self-coaching. And I'm talking about in terms of either a sports coach or a coach like me, a life coach. You need someone with a bit of an outside perspective, which can mean you can self-coach. You can try and take that moment to step back. One of the things that I've seen people do in certain kind of sports and things when they're looking to coach themselves is they will record themselves, or they'll have a friend record them. A friend of mine did this when he played squash. He would have them record his match or his practice sessions, and then he would go away, cool off, sort himself out, and then take a look at the video as if it was someone else. And as a result, it allowed him to make all these notes and then look at them again, going, right, these are the things that I need to do. These are the things that I've seen. If I've seen it, then that's probably something that anyone else could see, and that's something that I need to fix. But a lot of times people are too close to their problems, too close to the things that are causing their quality, the standard of their practice to decline somewhat. In which case, that's where you employ someone like me, or you get someone in the area that you are working in to come and take a look over your shoulder, or appraise you. In my case, in the case of a good coach, then you might get the odd suggestion if you've asked for it, but otherwise it's going to be more about planning and developing yourself, making sure that those blocks and those obstacles are out of your way. If you're looking for someone that's maybe more of a coach mentor, maybe more of a sports coach style of coaching, then they're going to be throwing more suggestions in there. They're going to be kind of forcibly correcting you or pointing you in the right direction, in which case you're looking more at a kind of mentoring to consulting route where they're kind of pointing you in a specific direction. And or teachers, again, teachers tend to do the pointing in a specific direction thing. If you're practicing a musical instrument, then you're probably going to have your music teacher turn around and kind of point out where you're doing things right, where you're doing things wrong, trying to push you in the right direction. But it's that extra input from someone else, from a fresh pair of eyes, or from your own eyes given a chance to become fresh again, that you are going to start getting more of these ideas to analyze yourself, or how you can improve. And as a result, the benefit of kind of the specific and frequent coaching feedback that you can get is that then when you are practicing, you have someone else that's holding you accountable. It's not just that you're sat there and trying to beat yourself up over it. It's, you don't need to do the beating up of yourself. Someone else is there to beat you up in a more figurative sense, kind of along the way. They if you haven't done everything that you had said you would do to improve, if you're falling off your plan, if you're not doing everything that you want because you've gotten your own way again, then it's not just you're sat there stewing to yourself. You've got that outside influence, that outside source to go and push you in the right direction. Now, obviously, if you're doing this with family members or friends or stuff like that, then this can maybe be a bit taxing on the relationship, depending on how you guys have been up until that point. But again, that's where having a properly trained, qualified, an experienced coach who maybe knows how to shove you in the right direction in the way that you've agreed with them, in a way that will work best, rather than a friend that might, when you start kind of making excuses for yourself, or kind of shrugging things off, or falling off your plan, or potentially doing very well with it, and then you just kind of leave them in the dust, and they're like, oh, well, it's done, and then you come back and start complaining about yourself to them again afterwards. That can strain a relationship, when a coach will literally just, depending on how you've agreed that they will deal with those kind of things, they may very well examine that with you, break it down, open it up, or they might cut you off, not give you the chance to give yourself excuses and make complaints about yourself, degrade yourself to them. They might just cut you off and get you back on track very quickly, depending on how things have been agreed. But either way, just to sum up, first thing, get out your own way. Second thing, make sure that the quality of your practice is as good as the quantity, because you can practice anything for any period of time, and if you're not actually setting yourself a good example in the first place, then that you're only going to kind of encode that bad example into the way that you operate. And lastly, get some outside eyes. The best outside eyes are people like me, who are kind of professional coaches, but otherwise the people that you can pull in to look at what you're doing and appraise it, be it a teacher, be it a mentor, be it a friend, whoever. These are people that will then give you that extra feedback that can either be suggestions, or it can be further planning, or it can be holding you accountable, and so you will kind of push yourself forward and achieve through it thanks to the practice that they have assisted in. But anyway, guys, if there's anything else that you guys would add to this list, I'd love to hear it. This stuff, as said, is the kind of stuff that's worked for me most as well. Although, it took me a fair while of making mistakes, of doing these things before. I was probably in one of my management jobs kind of early on, before I started to realise that actually it didn't matter how much I did a thing if I didn't do the thing in the right way. And then it also helps you just learn things faster. If you're doing it the right way and you're getting the results faster, then that reinforcement cycle of did thing, got thing right, did thing, got thing right. It helps your brain feel more positive about it, not get stressed about it, pick it up more easily. But anyway, as said, I'd love to hear if there's anything else that you would add to this list. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I will see you in the video later. Take care.